Hello everyone, welcome back to Appreciating Poetry. In the last class, we started Ode to Skylark by Percy Bysshe Shelley. We have discussed the first 10 stanzas of the poem. Let us recap the summary of the first 10 stanzas. Stanzas 1 to 5 describe the skylark, the sweetness of its song as it rises up in the sky. The poet even feels that it is a heavenly creature. As it rises up, the song also rises. The bird fly over the clouds, which is brightened by the golden rays of setting sun. The bird becomes invisible in the fading purple color of the sky, but its presence is felt by the song. The joy of bird is like the ray of moonlight. With dawn, it will not be seen, but the presence will be felt. In stanzas 6 to 10, the poet continues the description of the bird and its sweet music. The sweet music fills the air like heaven overflowed. The melody sung by the bird is beautiful than the rainbow. Spiritual songs are sung by the bird in hope that it will not be ignored by the world. With the sweet music, the bird comforts its soul. Though the bird is hidden, its voice can be heard just like the light of the glowworm is. This light of the glowworm is seen even when it is hidden. Now let us move on to the lesson 2. Lesson 2, which will discuss the stanzas from 11 to 21. I will read the poem, then read the paraphrase. Like a rose embowered in its own green leaves, by warm winds deflowered, till the scent it gives makes faint with too much sweet those heavy-winged thieves. The rose flower is enclosed in its own leaves. The rose flower is hidden in its own leaves. We cannot see it, yet we can enjoy its fragrance, the smell of it, scattered in the air by the winds. In the same way, the skylark is invisible, but its song can be heard. The phrase heavy-winged thieves is used to designate wind carrying away the fragrance of flowers. The next stanza. Sound of vernal showers on the twinkling grass, rain awakened flowers, all that ever was joyous and clear and fresh, thy music doth surpass. The sound of rain falling on grass in the spring season, making the grass shine brightly and the flowers fresh. The flowers awakened by rain, all are delightful to the eyes, but nothing can be compared to the bird's song. The poet tells us about some delightful sights. Vernal showers, sound of vernal shower. Vernal means spring. Sound of rain falling on the grass. in spring season. It is a very delightful sight. It makes the grass shine brightly and makes the flowers fresh. Then another delightful sight is the flowers awakened by rain. All these are delightful to our eyes, but nothing can be compared to the beauty of the song. Next stanza. Teach us, sprite or bird, what sweet thoughts are mine, what sweet thoughts are thine. I have never heard praise or love or wine that panted forth a flood of rapture so divine. The poet asks the bird to teach us the sweet thoughts of the bird. The poet says he has not heard anything like the song of the bird, which breathes out a flood of joy, which is so divine. See, in this stanza, the poet asks the bird to teach him what are the sweet thoughts of the bird. The poet says that he has not seen anything like the song of the bird, which breathes out the flood of joy, which is so divine. Flood of rapture. Sorry, here is a correction. Rapture means joy. Next stanza. Chorus hymeneal or triumphal chant matched with thine would be all but an empty want, a thing wherein we feel there is some hidden want. Chorus hymeneal, meaning songs sung at the occasion of marriage. Then triumphal chant means songs sung at the victory of wars. The meaning of the stanza is this: songs sung at marriage or songs sung at the victory of wars, both are nothing compared to the bird's song. When we compare, we feel that the marriage songs and victory songs lack something. Again, a comparison between the song of the bird and the marriage songs and the victory songs. Both are nothing when we compare it with the song of the bird. Then the poet asks, what objects are the fountains of thy happy strain? What fields or waves or mountains? What shapes of sky or plain? What love of thine own kind? What ignorance of pain? The poet asks, what are the sources of your happy music? From where does your happy music springs up? The poet asks the bird, what are the sources of your happy music? The fields or waves or mountains, shapes of sky or plain lands? Is it love for another skylark, or is it the absence of pain? What are the sources? Here is a comment on stanzas 11 up to 15. Poet continues to describe the song of the bird, how it is heard even though it is not seen. Like a rose hidden by the leaves, the skylark is also hidden. But just like the fragrance of the flowers can be felt, the song of the bird can also be heard. No sights can replace the beauty of the song of the bird, even the flowers shining in the spring rain. Poet asks the bird to teach him the bird's sweet thoughts, Marriage songs and victory songs are nothing compared to the bird's song. Then the poet asks the bird to reveal the sources of the happy song of the bird. Now we come to stanza 16 to 21. With thy clear, keen joyance, languor cannot be. Shadow of annoyance never came near thee. Thou lovest, but never knew love's sad satiety. With your clear, strong happiness, you will not be tired. The shadow of irritation will not come near you. The bird loves, but the bird never knows the end of love. The bird never feels the completeness of love. It continues to love forever. Stanza next. Waking or asleep, thou of death must deem things more true and deep than we mortals dream. Or how could thy notes flow in such a crystal stream? In its conscious or unconscious state, the bird has a better understanding about death than human beings. Otherwise, the song of the bird would not have been as clear as a crystal stream. The poet quite philosophically thinks that the bird possesses the deep knowledge about life and death. The poet says that the bird seems to have a better understanding about the mysteries of death and life. The poet's reason is that otherwise the song of the bird would not have been as clear as a crystal stream. So the poet's thoughts turn philosophical here. Then a comparison between the bird and human beings. We means human being. We look before and after and pine for what is not. Our sincere laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest thoughts are those that tell of saddest thought. We human beings are anxious about the future and regrets about the past. Regret about the past. We desire for what we don't have. Our sincere happiness, pain, and our sweetest songs are full of sad thoughts. Poet is comparing ourselves with the bird. Human beings are always worried. Even our happiness is filled with sad thoughts. Yet, if we could scorn hate and pride and fear, if we were things born not to shed a tear, I know not how thy joy we ever should come near. But still we could hate hatred. If we could hate hatred, pride and fear, meaning if we can be better people, if human beings were exempted from sorrow, man would be happy, but our happiness will be very small compared with the bird's happiness. So if we are able to hate hatred, pride and fear, if we can be better people, if human beings were exempted from sorrow, we would be happy, but our happiness will be very small compared with the bird's happiness. Better than all measures of delightful sound, better than all treasures that in books are found, Thy skill to poet were those corner of the ground. The poet, the skylarks singing high in the air would be more helpful to a poet. In what way? The bird would be better than all delightful musical treasures that are found in the world. The skylark singing high in the air would be helpful to a poet, because poet is someone who writes poems, creates music. So the bird will be better, a good teacher of all delightful musical treasures that are found in the world. Teach me half the gladness that thy brain must know. Such harmonious madness from my lips would flow. The world should listen then as I am listening now. The poet tells like this. That's the final request. Teach me at least half the happiness that the brain of bird knows. Then melodious music which expresses madness will flow from my lips as well. Let the world listen to my music, just like I am listening to you now. So the poet is requesting the bird to teach at least half of the happiness that he possesses. Then the poet will also be able to produce melodious music, and the world will listen to the poet just like the poet is now listening to the bird. See a word, harmonious madness, used here. Both are contradictory, so it is oxymoron. So a comment on stanzas 16 to 21. The bird will never be tired with its clear and beautiful song. The bird's love will never end. It will never be irritated. The poet turns philosophical while saying about the bird. The poet feels that the bird has knowledge about the mysteries of life and death. We human beings are anxious and sad. We were able to exempt If we were able to exempt sorrow from our life, we would have been happy. But even that happiness will be small before the joy of the bird. Poet then asks the bird to teach him at least half of the bird's happiness, so that the poet can sing beautifully. This let the world listen to him, just as the poet is now listening to the bird. As we have studied about ode in the first module, you can see that ode is a poetic form in which poet addresses something or someone. Here you can see that the whole poem is addressed at the skylark, and it is written not in an ordinary common man's language, but instead written in an elevated, grand style. So hope you have understood the poem. As I told you before, you can pause the video, read the poem, read the stanza, then read the paraphrase side by side. So you will not understand the poem if you just listen to it, but you should pay attention closely, watch over and over again in order to understand it. So stopping here. Thank you.